Welcome to the deep dive. We gather up all the sources, articles, reports, notes, and pull out the key info you need to get up to speed fast. Today, we're looking into something really chilling, unprecedented actually, the Kootenai Firefighter ambush. It's a tragedy that it doesn't make easy sense, you know? Shook a quiet town, made everyone face some tough realities. Okay, so let's unpack this. The mission for today is to really dig into the reports, the investigations, witness accounts, everything surrounding this, baffling incident from June 29th, 2025. We're going to lay out the stark facts, the really unsettling stuff that happened. Then we'll get into the profile of the person behind it, which is confusing, to say the least, and explore the ripple effects, right, for first responders, the community. You might have some aha moments here, even with the sadness, as we try to understand why this whole thing is still such an enigma. So picture this. Late June, Coeur, Idaho, Canfield Mountain. It's beautiful, popular for recreation.
Yeah, the kind of place people go to hike, bike, enjoy the outdoors.
Exactly. But that day, there was this underlying tension. Wildfire alerts were up.
Right, it was unusually dry, I remember reading that. And the fuel loads were higher than average. So, yeah, ripe for fire danger.
Then, at 1:21 p.m. Pacific time, a 911 call comes in. Brush fire, Nettleton Gulch. Seems routine, right?
Standard procedure.
But investigators now think this wasn't random at all. They believe 20-year-old Wess Roley set it himself.
Intentionally. With a flint striker, is that right?
That's what they think, yeah. Deliberately luring firefighters.
Yeah.
Setting up what they called a kill zone.
Wow.
So around 2:0 p.m., the first engines arrive. Coeur Fire, Kootenai County Fire and Rescue, Northern Lakes.
Standard response, multiple agencies coming together.
But this is where it gets really disturbing. Right after they arrive, witnesses say Roley walks up to the first crew.
Walks right up to them.
Yeah. Casually asks about the fire, how it's behaving.
Like a concerned citizen? That's audacious.
Chilling is the word. He talks to them for a moment, this apparent bystander, and then just raises a shotgun and opens fire instantly.
No warning. Just shoot.
Exactly. The firefighters immediately took cover behind their trucks, obviously, had to completely stop trying to fight the fire.
Sheriff Bob Norris said something like, these firefighters didn't have a chance.
Yeah. It just highlights the surprise, the sheer brutality of it. They were ambushed, completely blindsided.
In a situation they thought was, dangerous because of fire, not gunfire.
And the cost, the human cost, is just devastating. This wasn't quick. The gunfire went on for hours.
Showers.
Yeah. 2 firefighters were killed. Battalion Chief Frank Harwood, 42, Northern Lakes Fire, 17 years on the job, former Army National Guard, and Battalion Chief John Morrison, 52, from Coeur Fire. Over 28 years of service, both pronounced dead right there at the scene.
Just awful. And wasn't there a third firefighter injured?
Yes. Engineer Dave Tisdall, also from Coeur Fire, critically wounded. He had a terrible fight, but thankfully after 2 surgeries, he survived.
Thank goodness for that. But the trauma for him, for everyone there.
Yeah.
Unimaginable.
It really is. It just underscores the incredible risks they take, even on what seems like a routine call.
And then to face that level of calculated violence.
Absolutely. So after that initial attack, the response was huge. Over 300 officers, local, state, federal.
SWAT teams, FBI, ATF, everyone.
Right. They pinged Roley's phone on the upper mountain around 3:16 p.m.
Okay, so that helped narrow down the search area?
Yeah, tighten the perimeter. They put out a shelter in place for nearby neighborhoods, too.
And the search went on for hours then?
It did, until 7:40 p.m. That's when SWAT officers found Wess Roley.
Found him, dead.
Dead. Apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound. He was in dense woods near the fire line, shotgun beside him.
So he took his own life?
Yeah.
And Sheriff Norris confirmed he acted alone.
That's right, no accomplices. They also found his truck nearby, packed heavy, like he'd been living in it. Apparently, during the search, deputies pushed it over an embankment, maybe a cliff, to make sure he couldn't use it to escape if he was still mobile.
Desperate measures in a desperate situation.
And meanwhile, that fire he started, it kept growing.
Because they couldn't fight it initially.
Exactly. It got to about 26 acres of steep timbered terrain before they finally got it contained the next day.
A direct result of the ambush delaying the response.
Which brings us to the biggest question mark in all of this, Wess Roley himself.
Yeah, the perpetrator. This is where it gets really perplexing, right?
Totally. Because despite planning this total ambush, this murder, authorities found nothing. No manifesto, no clear ideology, no stated reason why.
That's the core of the enigma, isn't it? The why. Usually there's something, a note, online post, something. But here, silence.
It's profoundly unsettling. In cases like this, you often expect some kind of twisted rationale, but the absence of one is almost scarier. It defies our usual understanding.
It really does. And the contradictions just stack up. Like, Roley apparently wanted to be a firefighter.
Yeah, his grandfather, Dale Roley, said he was doing tree work and he wanted to be a fireman in the forest.
And he was actually pursuing it. Applied for a forestry job just months before.
4 or 5 months before, yeah. His grandfather said he loved firefighters. It didn't make sense that he was shooting firefighters.
How do you even process that?
Yeah.
Loving them, wanting to be one, and then doing this.
It's a massive paradox. A huge internal conflict must have been raging, something we just can't see.
A grievance, a complete break from reality. Without that motive, we're just guessing.
And adding to the mystery, 0 criminal history.
Right. The police contacts were minor, trespassing, welfare checks. Maybe 5 times. Always cooperative, apparently.
So completely unexpected for everyone. Family, authorities, nobody saw this coming. Sheriff confirmed he acted alone too.
Does acting alone make it harder to find a motive, you think? Yeah. No one else to talk to, no group ideology.
Yeah, I think it does. It focuses everything on his internal state, which is the hardest thing to piece together after the fact.
We know he came from a family of arborists, worked in that field.
And investigators think he used his climbing skills. Fired from a tree, maybe, which again points to planning, using his own expertise.
But his childhood sounds like it was rough. Parents divorced when he was 10.
Yeah, and there were court documents. His mom alleged his dad made threats. Something about burning the house down with a sniper rifle. That's pretty intense.
Very. Yet his grandfather insists he had loving family friends. Went on vacation with his mom the year before. He said it wasn't like he was a loner.
It just shows you can have support, family, but still be struggling immensely inside, completely hidden.
Absolutely. You never truly know.
Yeah.
His family, his stepfather included, put out a statement saying they were heartbroken, confused. We do not understand why this happened.
That mirrors what everyone feels, I think. Total bewilderment.
We also know he might have been living out of his truck recently.
Right, that heavily packed truck they found, still processing it for evidence, I imagine.
And former classmates. They paint a complicated picture, too.
Yeah, it described him as struggling, sometimes verbally aggressive, seclusive, but also could be friendly and fun.
One said you would take him in doses.
Yeah.
That's quite telling.
And there was that Instagram post, deleted now, him in camo, a mask, playing that Björk song, Hunter.
Digital forensics teams are probably all over that stuff, looking for any clue.
Okay, so the aftermath. This attack had immediate, real-world consequences for operations there.
Big time. Local police in Coeur d'Alene now go with the fire department on every call.
Every single one. Just to ensure safety. That's a huge shift.
It really highlights the impact. And this isn't just a local Idaho story, sadly. It taps into a wider, disturbing trend.
You mean attacks on first responders generally?
Exactly. There's been a noticeable rise in targeted assaults against firefighters, paramedics across the U.S. This incident brought that into sharp focus nationally. It's a new level of danger they face.
It forces a tough conversation, doesn't it? How do we protect the protectors when they themselves become targets?
Precisely. Governor Brad Little called it an evil attack, said this is not Idaho, ordered flags to half staff.
Yeah, he emphasized these are people who dedicate their lives to service.
The Idaho House Republican leadership echoed that, horrified, shocked by such a vicious attack.
And Senators Crapo and Risch held a moment of silence in the U.S. Senate. Shows the national gravity.
Definitely. And the community reaction was just immense.
That procession for the fallen firefighters, miles long. People on overpasses with flags saluting.
Yeah, a huge outpouring. The IAFF, Firefighters Union, called it a heinous act. Sent peer support teams immediately.
Which is so crucial in these situations. Churches open for counseling, stress management teams offered debriefings for all the agencies involved.
And crowdfunding popped up for the families. People just wanting to do something to help somehow.
You heard it from residents, too, just disbelief. Rick and Carol Wadholm said it was beyond my imagination that firefighters would be targeted.
Rick said Roley died for nothing, just to be hateful. That captures the senselessness people felt.
And another resident, Kurt Pauley, mentioned Coeur d'Alene usually has very little crime. Worried this would give the city a bad rap.
Understandable concern for the community's image after something like this.
So where does the investigation stand now? The main thing is still motive, right?
Absolutely. Why did Wess Roley, this aspiring firefighter with no criminal record, do this? Why target the very profession he supposedly admired? That's the million-dollar question.
Detectives are still digging through his digital life devices, deleted social media, hoping for that overlooked clue.
That truck, his likely home base, is still a key piece of evidence. They're probably inventorying every single item.
And talking to family, looking at gun purchase records from the ATF, trying to build that timeline, that background picture.
The FBI also put out a call for public help, asking for any video footage from Canfield Mountain around the time of the incident.
They're casting a wide net, clearly desperate for any shred of information.
And critically, they're looking into any specific interactions Roley might have had with fire departments or law enforcement.
Like a rejected application, a negative encounter, something that might have triggered this.
Exactly. Given his aspiration, that seems like a crucial avenue to explore. They're leaving no stone unturned.
Okay, so we've covered the tragic events, the bewildering profile of Roley, the community impact.
It's a lot to take in.
It really is. So the key things for you, our listener, to take away here.
First, the Kootenai Indian ambush was premeditated. It was unique in its targeting and just profoundly senseless. It defies easy answers.
Yeah. Second, Wess Roley himself is still an enigma. No clear motive despite wanting to be a firefighter. A puzzle.
And third, this wasn't just a localized tragedy. It led to real operational changes for safety agencies there, and it really spotlighted that growing national concern about threats against first responders.
Right. So that leaves us with a final thought to chew on. Governor Little said, this is not Idaho, called it evil, unprecedented. What does it mean for us, as a society when these calculated acts of violence happen without any clear reason, when the perpetrators seem to contradict everything about their own lives and goals?
How do we even start to understand something that seems utterly inexplicable?
Exactly. This tragedy really forces us to think about the hidden complexities inside people and maybe the hidden vulnerabilities even in places we think of as safe, as stable. It's unsettling.